The New Zealand weightlifter Laurel Hubbard is set to become the first trans athlete to compete at the Games. The country's Olympic Committee has named her as part of the women's team for the Tokyo Olympics. Here's our correspondent Phil Mercer.
Sport is all about pushing boundaries, and that's certainly what Laurel Hubbard will be doing at the Tokyo Olympics. She will be the first transgender athlete to compete at the Games. She has satisfied domestic and international criteria. She was competing in men's events until she transitioned in 2012, and she's had a pretty decorated career for New Zealand. Back in 2017, she won a silver medal at the World Championships. She thought her career was over at the Commonwealth Games a year later in 2018 when she broke her arm, but she's back to full fitness and back in the squad. And New Zealand Olympic officials are very cognizant of the fact that gender identity, in their words, is a very sensitive and complex issue in sport that requires a balance between human rights and the need for fairness in the field of play. There will be those who disapprove of her selection, but as far as the athlete herself is concerned, she said in a statement that she was humbled and that she was grateful.
Let's talk to Nicola Williams, who is from Fair Play for Women. That is a campaigning and consultancy group which says it's working to protect the rights of women and girls in the UK. Nicola Williams, how do you respond to this inclusion of Laurel Hubbard?
Well, we have to think, why do we even have female sport, female weightlifting in the first place? It's because male bodies are different to female bodies. And so, someone who's born male has benefited from lifelong testosterone and female people haven't. So, when we ask, should Laurel Hubbard compete in women's weightlifting? Well, the answer is no, because Laurel Hubbard was born male and has benefited from testosterone. So it's unfair for Laurel to be taking the place of a natal-born woman who has now not made it to the Olympics.
I mean, one of the reasons, as you know, why the Olympic Committee has allowed Laurel Hubbard to compete, to be part of the women's team, is because they don't believe she will benefit from testosterone through her life, even though she's now 43.
Well, that's just simply not true. It's not borne out by the studies. So we have a number of studies now showing that if a male person takes a testosterone blocker for even up to 3 years, their muscle levels are barely affected. So, and also common sense tells us this. Laurel Hubbard, when Laurel was competing as a man, was a fairly ordinary, mediocre male, and certainly wouldn't have made it to the Olympics. Then when competing against other women, of course, now at 43 years old, has made it to the Olympics. Now, it's unheard of for a 43-year-old woman to have got to the Olympics. So, common sense tells us, science tells us that these rules are simply unfair. You can't reduce testosterone later in life and eliminate all of the advantages of having grown up male and benefited from testosterone in life. And you got to remember as well, if a woman had taken testosterone and benefited from testosterone, that would be called doping, and she would be eliminated, banned from the Olympics.
But don't the IOC guidelines say you have to depress somehow the levels of testosterone? You will know the rules better than me, before you can actually qualify.
Yeah, for 12 months, but we know that reducing testosterone levels in males for 12 months in adulthood does not reduce or eliminate the benefits, the overwhelming benefits that testosterone has given. So the strongest woman in the world, a heavyweight woman, can only lift the same amount as a lightweight male of 50 kilograms. That's what the difference is. That's how much stronger males are. And so by allowing someone who has benefited from testosterone and having been born male into the female category makes a mockery of the whole thing. And it means that a woman has now not made it, because we're not talking about the woman that didn't make it to the Olympics. So even if Laurel Hubbard doesn't get a medal, the damage has already been done. A woman now has lost her place after a lifetime of training to get to the Olympics, and that's unfair. And the Olympics have put in rules that simply don't work based on no evidence, because although gender identity matters to individuals, You know, it can't be the basis for selecting people in sport. It has to be based on sex.
You will know that. Well, you will know that there'll be some people watching now who will disagree with you and say a woman has not been denied a place in this team because Laurel Hubbard is a woman.
Laurel Hubbard is not female. Laurel Hubbard is male. Laurel was born male and has a male body.
And now she's a trans. And now they will say she is a trans woman and should be regarded as a woman.
Well, she's not female though, is she? You know, for social purposes, a trans woman can live and be treated as a woman, fine. Everybody will accept that. But gender identity is not the same as sex. And a trans woman is male. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trans women. They would be actual women, wouldn't they? So, you know, we have to base it on, sport is about bodies, not about feelings. So you have to look, what sex is Laurel Hubbard? Laurel Hubbard is male, a male who identifies as female, and they've benefited from being male and have a male body.
I mean, even
there
just,
is no transition that turns someone into a female.
Nicola Williams, even just saying that like that, people will say you are transphobic.
I know, and surely nobody can really disagree with what I'm saying, because we all know it's common sense. What it is, it's difficult to say it because you'll get called transphobic, you're right. But someone has to say it, and we have to call out this unfairness, because sport is about bodies and females need their own category in sport, and it's not right for male people, no matter how they identify later in life. It's not fair for them to compete against natal-born females, because they'll take medals, they'll take places, and it makes a mockery of female sport.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Thank you. Nicola Williams from Fair Play for Women. Thank you.